अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज के CSS का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ का पेपर हम सॉल्व करेंगे। उसका MCQs। तो हमारे पास फर्स्ट MCQs है, which theory of the constitutional interpretation emphasizes interpreting the constitution according to the original intent of its framers. Option 1 golden theory, option 2 textualism, option 3 originalism, option 4 none of these. करेक्ट ऑप्शन है ऑप्शन 3 ओरिजिनलिज्म। सेकंड है, what constitutional concept ensures that government actions are constrained by established laws and procedures? Option 1 separation of power, ex post facto law, due process or none of these. Correct option है option 3 due process. 3 है, which constitutional concept suggests that the fundamental rights of the citizens are not absolute and can be subjected to reasonable restrictions in the interest of public welfare? Option 1 proportionality, option 2 rule of law, option 3 judicial activism, option 4 none of these. Correct option है option 1 proportionality. 4 है, in which country does the head of the state hold significant executive powers unlike the largely symbolic monarch of the UK? Russia, France, Turkey or none of these. Correct option है option 1 Russia. 5th है, which country's constitution grants broad powers to the legislature with limited judicial review to strike down the laws? China, France, USA or none of these. Correct option है option 1 China. 6th है, in a cohabitation scenario in France, which of the following statement correctly describe the relationship between the president and the prime minister? The president hold all the major executive powers and the prime minister serve as an advisor. The president hold foreign affairs and defense while the prime minister governs domestic affairs. They share executive powers equally, having authority over the different policy areas or none of these. Correct option है option 2. The president controls foreign policy and defense while the prime minister governs domestic affairs. Which country's constitution grants extensive power to the judiciary, including the powers to issue advisory opinions and influence policy making? UK, Russia, USA or none of these. Correct option है option 4 none of these. 8 है, which organ of the Turkish government is responsible for interpreting the constitution? Constitutional courts, courts of secession, council of states or none of these. Correct option option 1 court, constitutional courts. 9th, which organ of the Turkish government has the authority to enact the laws on matters related to the organization and duties of the armed forces? Grand National Assembly, Council of Ministers, National Security Council or none of these. Correct option है Grand National Assembly. 10th, what is the role of the French Council of State in legal system? Legislation, criminal prosecutions, administrative justice or none of these. Correct option है option 3 administrative justice. What is the name of the bicameral parliament in France consisting of the National Assembly and Senate? Le Parlement, Bundestag, Le Chamber des Députés or none of these. Correct option option 1 Le Parlement. 12th, what is the minimum percentage of the votes required in the National People's Congress of China to pass a constitutional amendment? 3/5 majority, 2/3 majority, simple majority or none of these. Correct option है option 2 2/3 majority. 13th, according to 1962 Constitution of Pakistan, what was the consequences for the more of the failed resolution for the presidential through impeachment? They would be disqualified from holding public office. They would be barred from political activities for a year. They would be lost their seat in provincial assembly or none of these. Correct option है none of these because ये national assembly के लिए था, provincial assembly के लिए नहीं था सीट को जो लूज करना था. 14th है, which amendment in 1973 constitution empowered a check on the floor crossing of the legislature? 13th, 14th, 16th or none of these. Correct option है option 2 14th. 15 है, under the Government of India Act 1935, how was the federal legislature structured? Unicameral with the Federal Assembly, bicameral with the Federal Assembly and a Senate, bicameral with the Federal Council and a Council of State or none of these. Correct option option 4 none of these because bicameral with the Federal Assembly and Council of State था, यहाँ पे Federal Council लिखा हुआ है इसलिए हमारे पास कोई ऑप्शन यहाँ पे नहीं है. 17th है, what constitutional doctrine in the USA is associated with the principle that what the crown has done the crown can undo? Royal prerogative, doctrine of ultra vires, doctrine of destitute or none of these. Correct option है option 1 royal prerogative. 18 है, under the French constitution what mechanism allows the president to submit certain policy matters to a national referendum? Constitutional council authorization, article 11, council of the ministers decision or none of these. Correct option option 2 article 11. 19 है, what is the primary role of the Senate in French bicameral legislature? Scrutinizing government bills, conducting impeachment proceedings or rectifying international treaties or none of these. Correct option है option 1 scrutinizing government's bills. Last time, how are judges appointed and removed in Turkey? Appointed by President, removed by Grand National Assembly, appointed by the Council of the Ministers, and removed by the President with the Constitutional Court recommendations, appointed by the Supreme Board of the Judges and Procedures, and removal required disciplinary commendation. और none of these correct option है. Option 3, appointed by the Supreme Board of the Judges and Procedures and removal required disciplinary recommendations. यहाँ पे गलती हो गई है, इसका ऑप्शन 3 है. तो ये तुम्हारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ का पेपर. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट पेपर में मुलाकात होती है. अल्लाह हाफिज़.